Bedtime story. The Little Wolf and the Quiet Moon. Deep inside a wide green forest, where tall trees touched the soft blue sky, there lived a little wolf named Milo. He was smaller than the other wolves in his family, and his legs were still short and a little clumsy. His fur was light gray, with a few white patches around his chest and the tip of his tail. His eyes were round, bright, and always full of wonder. Milo lived with his family in a warm den under a large old oak tree. The den was hidden between thick roots and covered with soft leaves, dry grass, and a little moss. It was a safe and cozy place, especially at night when the forest became dark and quiet.
Every evening, Milo liked to lie outside the den and watch the sky. He loved the moon more than anything else. Sometimes the moon was big and bright, while other times it was thin and pale. No matter how it looked, Milo always felt calm when he saw it shining above the trees. One night, the forest was unusually quiet. The wind moved slowly through the leaves, and the branches made a soft, gentle sound. A few fireflies floated above the grass like tiny stars. Somewhere far away, an owl called once, and then everything became peaceful again. Milo was not sleepy yet. He had already eaten his dinner, played for a while, and curled up beside his family. However, his eyes still felt wide awake. He looked at the moon through the branches and noticed something strange. The moon seemed to be following him. When Milo moved a little to the left, the moon appeared between different branches. When he moved to the right, the moon seemed to move with him. Milo knew that the moon was actually far away, but he still found it funny and interesting. After watching the moon for a while, Milo decided to take a short walk. He carefully stepped away from the den. His paws touched the soft ground without making much noise. He moved slowly because he did not want to wake anyone. The forest felt different at night. During the day, it was full of birds, insects, and warm sunlight. At night, everything seemed softer and slower. Milo followed a narrow path between the trees. The moonlight helped him see where he was going. It painted silver shapes on the ground, and the shadows of the branches moved gently whenever the wind blew. As Milo walked, he noticed small things that he had never seen before. A group of tiny mushrooms grew beside a fallen tree. Their pale tops looked almost white under the moonlight. Nearby, a family of sleeping rabbits rested under a bush. They were very still, and their small bodies moved up and down as they breathed. Milo walked carefully past them. A little farther away, he found a small stream. The water moved slowly over smooth stones, making a soft and relaxing sound. Milo lowered his head and drank some cool water. After that, he sat beside the stream. The moon appeared on the surface of the water. It looked like a bright silver circle that moved whenever the stream moved. Milo watched the reflection with great interest. Every small wave changed the shape of the moon, but the moon in the sky stayed the same. For a while, Milo simply sat there. He listened to the water, he listened to the wind, then he listened to the quiet sounds of the forest. Little by little, his body began to relax. However, just as Milo was about to close his eyes, he noticed a tiny sound coming from somewhere nearby. It was a soft rustling sound. Milo lifted his head. The sound came again. Rustle. Rustle. Milo looked around. He could not see anything at first. Then, between two large stones near the stream, he noticed a small brown shape. It was a tiny hedgehog. The little hedgehog seemed lost. Milo stayed still for a moment. He did not want to frighten the small animal. Then, slowly, he moved closer. The hedgehog looked tired and nervous. It had probably been walking for a long time. Its tiny feet were covered with bits of dry leaves, and its little nose moved quickly as it searched for a familiar smell. Milo understood that the hedgehog needed help. He lowered his body and moved slowly around the little animal. He did not know exactly where the hedgehog's home was, but he knew that the forest was a big place. If the hedgehog stayed alone for too long, it might become even more lost. Milo decided to follow the hedgehog. The small animal began walking toward the trees. Milo stayed a few steps behind. He did not want to walk too close because he wanted the hedgehog to feel safe. Together, they moved through the quiet forest. The path became narrower. The trees became thicker. Soon, they reached a place where the moonlight could hardly reach the ground. Milo slowed down. He was not afraid, but he felt a little nervous. The forest looked very different in the darkness. The shadows seemed larger, and every small sound felt important. Still, Milo continued. The hedgehog moved slowly in front of him. Every now and then, it stopped and smelled the ground. Then it continued in another direction. Milo followed patiently. After some time, they reached a small hill. From the top of the hill, Milo could see the forest below. The moonlight covered the trees, and the leaves looked like a huge silver blanket. Far away, Milo could see the dark shape of the old oak tree where his family lived. For a moment, Milo felt a little homesick. He missed his warm den. He missed the soft fur of his family. He missed the safe feeling of being close to them. Still, he knew he could not leave the hedgehog alone. The little animal continued down the other side of the hill. Milo followed. After a while, they reached another part of the forest. This place was filled with low bushes and small trees. The ground was soft, and many tiny paths crossed each other. The hedgehog suddenly stopped. It lifted its nose. Then it turned toward a group of bushes. Milo watched carefully. The hedgehog moved faster. Soon, it disappeared under the bushes. Milo followed with his eyes. A few seconds later, he noticed another small hedgehog waiting near the roots of a tree. The two little animals moved toward each other. Milo understood. The lost hedgehog had finally found its family. Milo sat quietly and watched them. The hedgehogs stayed close together, touching their small noses and moving around each other. They seemed happy and safe. Milo felt warm inside as he watched them. He had been tired before, but now he felt peaceful. The little wolf looked up at the moon. It was still shining brightly above the trees. Milo suddenly realized that he had been away from home for a long time. The night was getting colder, and his paws were tired from walking. It was time to go back. Milo turned around and began his journey home. The forest seemed less frightening now. He already knew the path. He passed the bushes. He crossed the small hill.
he walked through the darker part of the forest. Then he reached the stream again. The water was still moving gently over the stones. Milo stopped for one last drink before continuing. As he walked, he began to feel very sleepy. His steps became slow. The moon seemed to shine more softly now. Milo followed the silver light between the trees. Soon, he reached the familiar path that led to his home. He could smell the old oak tree. He could smell the dry grass inside the den. He could even smell his family. Milo felt happy. He walked faster. At last, he reached the entrance of the den. His family was still sleeping. Milo quietly stepped inside. The den was warm and comfortable. The ground was covered with soft leaves, and the air smelled like wood and earth. Milo found his usual place beside the others. He curled his small body into a ball. His tail rested near his nose. For a moment, he thought about the night. He thought about the moon. He thought about the stream. He thought about the little hedgehog that had found its family. Milo felt proud. He had started the night feeling restless and unable to sleep. However, because he had taken a small walk, he had discovered something important. Sometimes a quiet night could bring a small adventure. Sometimes getting lost for a little while could lead to something beautiful. Sometimes helping someone else could make a tired heart feel peaceful. Milo closed his eyes. Outside the den, the wind moved gently through the trees. The leaves made a soft, sleepy sound. The stream continued to flow in the distance. Above the forest, the moon slowly moved across the sky. Milo began to dream. In his dream, he was walking through a huge field covered with soft silver grass. The moon was very close, and the stars looked like tiny lights hanging from the sky. Milo ran through the field. His legs were strong. His paws were light. He ran without feeling tired. Around him, the forest animals moved peacefully. Rabbits hopped through the grass. Small birds flew quietly above the trees. Fireflies floated around him like tiny golden stars. Milo kept running until he reached a small hill. At the top of the hill, he could see his home. The old oak tree stood proudly under the moonlight. The den was warm. His family was safe. Everything was exactly where it should be. Milo sat down and looked at the sky. The moon seemed closer than ever. For the first time, Milo understood why he loved the moon so much. The moon never rushed. It never seemed worried. It simply moved slowly across the night sky, shining quietly over the forest. Milo liked that. He liked the idea that the moon was always there, even when he could not see it clearly. When clouds covered the moon, it was still there. When the night became dark, it was still there. When Milo felt small or afraid, the moon still shone above him. Milo felt safe. He lay down on the soft grass in his dream. The night air was cool and gentle. The stars slowly became softer. The sound of the wind became quieter. Milo's eyes began to close. Then, just before he fell completely asleep, he remembered the little hedgehog. He imagined the small animal sleeping safely beside its family. That thought made Milo smile. Then he finally fell into a deep and peaceful sleep. Back in the real forest, the night continued quietly. The moon moved slowly above the trees. The wind passed through the branches. The stream carried.
Everything rested. The rabbits slept under their bush. The birds slept in their nests. The hedgehogs slept safely near the tree roots. And inside the old oak tree, the little wolf slept beside his family. Milo's breathing was slow and calm. His paws were warm. His small body was completely relaxed. For the rest of the night, he did not wake up. He dreamed of quiet forests, bright stars, and silver rivers. He dreamed of running through wide green fields. He dreamed of new paths waiting to be explored. But most of all, he dreamed of home. And as the moon slowly disappeared behind the trees, the little wolf slept peacefully, knowing that the forest was full of gentle places, kind hearts, and quiet adventures. Morning would come soon. The sun would rise. The birds would begin to sing. The trees would glow with warm golden light. And Milo would wake up ready for another day. But for now, there was nothing he needed to do. There was nowhere he needed to go. The night was calm. The forest was safe. His family was near. And the little wolf could simply sleep. So, under the quiet moon and the endless stars, Milo rested in his warm little den. Slowly, peacefully, and without a single worry, he drifted deeper into his dreams. And the forest slept with him.